Hello everybody, this is Dr. Austin Blanchon and I'm going to be discussing all about the implications for flywheel training. So, flywheel training refers to these flywheels that are able to accelerate and decelerate using inertia, the moment and the speed of how these flywheels train. And move is how we can get resistance. I have a vertical pulley system and a horizontal box pulley system that is going to create and maintain a constant tension with the pull of the concentric shortening of my tissue and the lengthening eccentric of my tissue is maintained throughout the entire process using a flywheel, which is different than with using any sort of flywheels are going to be different than any sort of dumbbell where the length of my actual arm, the moment arm is going to be changing, but since there's not constant tension, because when I'm changing the angle of the joint, this closer range, it's not as hard, whereas the further it gets away from me, it's changing the moment arm and it's going to change the force. So therefore, it's not consistent and maintained the entire time as it is in one of these flywheels. I spin the wheel, now that pulls the rope in. Now I have constant tension with the flywheel just like that the entire time. That is one of the big benefits is that the tension is maintained throughout the entire portion of the exercise with flywheels. This is a flywheel from Exxentric, the company which has the best flywheels on the market. The company Exxentric refers to the higher eccentric overload that you get with using flywheels. These are lightweight flywheels that come in various sizes. So I have a medium size, it's smaller, which can go faster during the flywheel. Then you have a larger one, larger size, which can produce more load and it won't go as fast as the medium size. Then an extra large, which will only fit on the Kbox Pro, which is my favorite platform. Then my second favorite is any sort of pulley system. There's the Kpulley Go, which you can attach it on the beam, just as you see here in this Kpulley 2. A vertical pulley and a horizontal ground-based pulley system are my two favorite pieces of gym equipment that I own. These flywheels are very lightweight. As you can see, this weighs way less than a 45-pound plate. And I can throw it on the ground just like that. So, the amazing capability of also with these flywheels is that you have this system that uses a pole to hook it in. You can use handles, any sort of thing that has a loop in it, you can put it in here. So other things that have worked with other pulleys, you have a bar, a rotational sling. Anything that can wrap around your body and hook into this is fair game, and you can get constant tension the entire time. I prefer this over any sort of dumbbell or weight training because of how little space it takes up, how interchangeable these flywheels are from Exxentric with any sort of different equipment. They also have a leg knee extension machine. There's also this portable pulley system, this Kpulley Go, which can hook onto any beam. I pull and open the loop, and then it goes on in, and then it can go up and down the longer beam. Or with the Go version, you get this size of a beam, and then you can strap these around any tree or any volleyball soccer post, whatever you can fit this on, and it will actually stay. And then this hooks in and can stay into any one of these holes. This beam can also be screwed into a stud. Therefore, you won't need these straps. This beam comes in small, medium, and larger size. So if you were to get a larger size beam, keep it into the wall, and then use this part to go up and down to change the angle where the force is coming through, you can have the Kpulley go for its portable use and its permanent at home, at clinic, whatever use you have for it. Because it's amazing, this can go down, and then the tension comes from below you. So then you're pulling up at this angle, and then really quick you can superset it with something from a completely different angle, where it's above you. And it changes just like that. So then how you can change the length of how far you want it to then pull you back in. With these vertical pulleys, you just use the rope and feed it through. Same thing with the Kpulley Go. There's a red knob and you just change this length. The longer this part is, then the shorter length you have, and then obviously the shorter this is, the more length you have the other way. Here is that zoomed up. You pull more length underneath the red button means a shorter distance of flywheel tension, and vice versa. As you can see, I have a longer length of where I want the flywheel system to end. Now I'm showing you how to lengthen that to shorten the distance of the tension. That lengthening below the red button gives me exercises where I'm going to be closer to the flywheel. With the Kbox, there's a red button that you push down here, and that is going to customize and change the length of, let's say, your squat, deadlift, or even curls with this. So for the Kbox, changing the length, what I want you to do is pull up until you see that both sides have the silver on either end, meaning that it's straight and erect and it's not underlapped. Then you'll push your foot on the red button, keeping this length. Now, as you can see, the left side is now changing rope. Now it's getting closer and shorter and shorter. The rope now is customized to your liking. That silver piece is still seen on both sides, but foot is still there. Now you're going to choose the length at which you want it to end at. So for a squat, I do my knees partially bent. Then I hook this into the harness, take the foot off, and then you spin the flywheel either way. And as you can see, that rope is now taken up. Then you're ready to go. Tension is there under the rope. And then now you perform the motion as it pulls you in. That's the exercise. Again, I love the various uses. So you put the flywheel in the little knob, and then you have one of these fixers that make sure these flywheels don't just come off. And with these Kboxes, you can use a belt. And then it hooks around here. And so what you want to do is you first allow this to get as long as possible to where you don't see the rope wrapped around anymore. Push the red button with your foot, and now I have control of the rope. I hook it in, and then I find the end point of my squat, which is there. Foot comes off, Now you spin this to get the rope, squat down, and it stops right where I told it to stop. Other things you can do is hold the flywheel, max effort. Now you controlled the rope, and then you let it go. So you can fixate at different angles and get your sticky points of your movements and lifts that are hard to control and move by stopping this flywheel, and then now you're not going to move. So now it's an isometric, you're not changing length, but you can max effort and control whatever you want. You have one of these squat harnesses, which is one of the things that I think is an absolute must when you get your Kbox. You must have a squat harness. And you might want to use a size that's a little bit smaller. I use a size small. You want it snug. It's right by your iliac crest. This loop is on the back for someone to grab and help you if they need to. See these two loops? Overlap them. And then you hook the loops through both of them just like that. And you're going to stay in for the ride. You're nice and snug. Pull the loop, and it comes right off. The amazing use in the interchangeable is that now I go right to the vertical pulley with the flywheel system. Exxentric is my favorite company for all of your flywheel training. The implications are for sports performance, rehabilitation, training. Everyday individuals can use these. It takes a little bit of time to get used to and requires more, honestly, athleticism, but once you get used to them, you're not going to want to go back. I put all of my gym in a tiny little space. This can fit in a 500 square foot or less apartment. That's one of the biggest beauties of all of this Exxentric flywheel equipment. It takes up very little space, but let alone you can load your body beyond imagination. Interested, I work with the Exxentric company. The link exxentric.com/Blanchon, my last name. I appreciate if you use that link when you're deciding to purchase your Exxentric equipment.